This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew.
Okay, look, I have a thing against the word erectile dysfunction, the term erectile dysfunction. And you know this about me, Jenny.
I know this about you because that was my band's name and you got mad about that.
Yeah, and I don't like to call it erectile dysfunction. I like to think that as I've gotten older, my erections are more discriminating. You know, they don't just, I don't give it up for just anything. And, you occasionally you need that boost, people. Let's face it.
Everyone needs a little something. Yes.
Sometimes you need a little something. So the great, I'm going to be 57 on Wednesday. And the greatest part of that is, when, when you were feeling a little nerfy in the shorts, when you were like in your 30s, it was really embarrassing because you should just be like all there. And it happens to everybody even then. But now when it happens, it's like, hey, I'm 57. You're lucky to get one.
Yeah.
So
when you hugged my mom, that happened.
Well, obviously, I'm not like made of steel, but not everybody has your mom around. And that's why you need Blue Chew. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis.
Yeah. And you could take them anytime, by the way, Danny.
I could.
Day.
How do you know I haven't taken one right now?
I like the idea that maybe you did. And guess what? Maybe I did.
We both took them. I don't think
I'm rock hard right now.
I don't believe they're for women. And
no, they're not for women. Don't do that. This is why we're a comedy podcast. We say that.
Yeah. Well, here's something that they wanted me to say, and I'm going to say it because they were really strict about it. It says Blue Chew is made in the USA. It's prescribed online by licensed physicians. So you don't have to go to the doctor or wait in line. It's even cheaper than a pharmacy. And they prepare and ship it right to you in a discreet package. No awkwardness, and you don't need to leave the house. And I'd just like to add, you also don't need to buy a bunch of stuff at the pharmacy that you don't really need because you don't want to just go there for boner pills.
Exactly. You don't have to buy garbage bags and moisturizer.
Yeah, a toilet brush, the latest episode, the latest issue of Us. No.
As seen on TV products.
No. As seen on TV products. You don't need that. So visit bluechew.com now and get your first shipment free when you use our special code, Danny. See that, Dad? I made it. My name is a promo code for Boner Meds.
One day, I have a dream now.
Yeah, and you'll just pay $5 in shipping. You go to bluechew.com, promo code Danny, and that's it. That's BLUE chew.com, promo code Danny. Try it for free. I know I am. I don't even
product. It's the cheaper choice too. They sponsor the podcast.
And they sponsor the podcast. And I'm alone right now. But the most humiliating thing is when I can't even perform when I'm alone. And this has saved me a lot of embarrassment and tears to myself in the mirror. So Danny,
anything that'll make you smile and not cry tears of sadness.
I'm a much happier person. Danny at bluechew.com.
Blue Chew.
It's a very
well, we have a very exciting show.
We do.
We
have
do.
A great show.
Yeah, this individual that is super funny that's coming on. We just learned we popped our Clubhouse cherry the other night, Danny.
I know. We both got into the Clubhouse with you, Jordan. And that was fun.
It's Jordan Rubin, everybody.
Jordan Rubin, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Round of applause. Fake applause, guy. Cut in here. Oh, they're going crazy. Oh my God, that one's showing your boobs. Look at that.
Jordan, we have comedian, writer, director.
I want to plug in my headphones and see if my audio is better.
Okay.
How is
Looks
this?
like you got some sweet beats in the back. Is that a box?
For everybody.
Does that change? Does that make things better?
It makes everything. It makes it better. Also, just
sounds great.
Just the behind the scenes stuff of watching the sausage get made for our podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
You figuring out it's just great. And I think it makes everybody.
Me figure out my pile of boxes back there, like
very.
I was looking at what a thing of Beats headphones. Is that what I'm looking at?
I think those are Beats Solo 3s.
Wow.
They
Look,
sponsor the
Good
podcast.
fucking eye for me. Yeah.
it looks like maybe you're living in a bowling alley and you've repurposed
Yeah.
shelves.
Well, I realized like it's been a long pandemic, guys, and I realized just yesterday, like maybe I should like spruce up the background for all my meetings and for the very least my therapy.
Yeah.
But it's just a pile of stuff. I actually had someone come to organize a TaskRabbit come to help me organize like a year and a half ago. And
Uh-huh.
she's like, you have a bunch of books all here. Why don't we just like make it sporadic? And I thought it looked good, but then lately I just am like, this looks like just things plopped in there.
Yeah, it sort of looks well, I'm watching
It's
this.
like a high school classroom in the back, like cubby holes for each student that they can
Yeah.
put their
I was
shit in.
watching
And the
this
shadows are bad.
I was watching this documentary on the Unabomber, and it brings to mind a little cabin a little bit. Yeah,
That's what I'm going for.
yeah, it's
That's
good.
what I feel like everybody's taken a Unabomber turn during the pandemic. We've all started, writing manifestos.
Manifesting.
I
Yeah.
would read.
Yeah.
God, your manifesto, I bet, would be funny, sharp, quick. I believe in you.
I think mine would just be really, really depressing.
So did you guys get so for those of you must know the Clubhouse app out there, but it's this app that I still haven't quite figured out, but that you go on and people, it's like you're talking and people can listen to you and there's interactions and whatnot.
It's like having like Jordan, I don't know how experienced you are with it. Twice now I've been on it. It's been with you, but it's like there's an audience of people that are listening, and then there's speakers that are in the
Yeah.
there, and then I don't know. I still don't understand. There's like a middle group of people.
Yeah.
And then
those are people that. So there's 3 layers. It's basically like thinking of it as like a stage. So there's a stage, and then there's I guess the orchestra section, which they just separate, which is people on the stage follow, and then below that is just people that have joined the room that they don't have any affiliation, and I think I am guessing the reason they do the in between section, that sort of orchestra people, like stage people follow, is just so when you want to bring someone up, it's easier to find. I think. I still am not sure on that.
It does make it
like
hard
if you see your buddy.
It makes it harder to just stalk one of these things, though. Like when you want to just go, if you know somebody on the stage, because then everybody, oh, there you are. Oh, you want to say something? Nope, I'm running away.
Yeah, and I have the opposite problem where whenever I start a room, I'll start talking, and then I'll see someone I know join. Like I'll say I'll see you join or you join, and I feel like I don't want them to feel like, oh, you listening, like it's just a casual room usually. And I don't want my friends to feel like, oh, you plebeians just sit down there and is that the right word? Like just sit there and while we ramble on, and I'm like, come on up, everyone. But half the time people don't want to. They just want to see what the hell's going on.
Yeah, that's
so. What I think the new thing I've realized is you say, hey, if anyone wants to come up, raise your hand.
Yeah.
Of course, then you get all the random people that you don't want, and not your friends.
I mean, I don't mean to sound elitist, but no one wants the great unwashed on that stage with you. I mean, does that come off elitist? What I just said, maybe.
No.
Well, the first time I ever heard that term was 2 days ago.
No, the great unwashed.
The great unwashed. I'd never heard that before.
Oh my God, that was something. I remember I don't know, when I was a little boy, I remember hearing some snobs.
It was my mom's friend who was texting me because my mother had a birthday a day or two ago, and she was like randomly just talking about COVID stuff. And I said, have you been vaccinated? She said, yes. And she's like, I'm still very careful though, because I am like one of those unlucky people who she got polio after being vaccinated for polio way back in the day.
Wow.
And then she started, she's very funny, and we were joking about some stuff, and she said like, yes, my mother referred to them as everyone out, in the society is the great unwashed. And I was like, I should have heard that before, but I didn't.
Sounds nice. Your mom's the opposite of my mom. That's lovely. Yeah.
Where's your mom? Texas?
Yeah, she's in Texas. She just got her first vaccine shot, which that was a chore trying to get her to like actually go and get it. Because up until then, she kept saying shit like, everyone just needs to get over it. I'm so sick of it.
Right.
Like, well, that doesn't make it go away. Like, you can be as annoyed as you want with the pandemic, but
there's Moderna, Pfizer, and just get over it.
My mom was lining up for it like it was a new iPhone. Like she's
Right.
been waiting forever.
Mine too.
And she's like, but it's also like, she's got both her shots, old
Did she
broad,
get sick at all from?
not at all. No.
Where'd you grow up, Danny?
She's outside of Atlanta. So
Right.
it was good to.
Did you grow up down there?
No. My sisters, both of my sisters wound up settling in that area. My youngest sister was in aerospace, and then my middle sister sort of followed over there and now works at CNN. And
But where did you grow up originally? Where were you?
Jersey. I'm in New
Jersey. Yeah.
How about you?
New York City, Manhattan. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I was we were just outside the city. I mean, I was born in New York, but I don't remember.
I'm from Bay City, Texas. Thanks.
No one cares.
No.
You're
Anyway,
welcome.
back to so that's all flyover. But
So let me tell you, Danny, you'll laugh at this. So we did that first Clubhouse a couple of weeks ago, and I was telling you right before we started that Jordan had started this very fun movie night. How long have we been doing this now, Jordan?
What is it, like 5 weeks? We took 1 week off because one of my friends was like, take a week off. I think because then people will come back strong. And I think he just wanted a break for 1 week or something. And I was like,
I know, I was disappointed when we were like, we have a bye week.
yeah.
But we pick these movies, or Jordan has picked these, like the first movie we watched was Teen Wolf.
Yes.
And so just,
oh my God.
Rewatching something like that, and Roadhouse, Face Off.
Yeah, Danny, you should come this week.
I will. When is it? What is it?
Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific. So it's a little late if you're East.
So
are you East or are you out here?
I'm out here.
Oh, okay.
I play in a Thursday night poker game, but if it's over by then, I will.
Yeah. So, but when you first joined Clubhouse, we had just watched the movie.
Is that what happened?
That's why we were all like jumped from watching the movie.
Yeah, I was like, let's all go meet in Clubhouse.
The funniest thing that made me laugh was this past Thursday, that after we watched Con Air, which was hilarious.
Hilarious movie.
We get into
That's Nicolas Cage, right?
Yeah.
I was just like literally talking.
And Dave Chappelle. John Malkovich.
On the way over here, I have a friend over here, and she and I have been talking. We were literally just talking about Nicolas Cage. It's very banana.
He just got married again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like right after we watched Con Air the next morning, I'm reading news. It's like Nick Cage just got married for the 5th time to a 20-year-old or something.
Oh, it'll work out this time.
Good for him. Yeah. We watched this movie, get on Clubhouse, and was it you or David Wayne that decided to start the truth about Bitcoin?
I think I pitched. We were in our room post Slack. We went over there, and then I was like, let's start another fun room. What about if we're doing the truth? And David said, I'll start it right now. So he got the credit for starting it, but it was my idea.
Okay. But
and then we all just chimed in on, we played it completely straight and acted, because 90% of the rooms on Clubhouse are about Clubhouse or about Bitcoin or about NFTs.
That's what are NFTs?
Non-fungible tokens, I think.
What does that mean? Is that
I still don't.
Is that like crypto?
I think I don't know enough about crypto, but I know NFTs are. I think it's like it's a digital creation of something that cannot change in value, or no, it can change in value, but it can't change. So it can't get old. It can't. It's a very weird thing. Like there's Jack Dorsey, is that his name, from Twitter? Tried to sell his first tweet and create a non-fungible token. I think from that would be the way to say it. But
I'm so bored even hearing this much.
I know.
Literally, it's
oddly, MC Hammer is on every night talking about it. So I guess they find celebrities to endorse it.
Well, MC Hammer famously good with his money.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, he had been my financial advisor for like 6 years, and then I never heard from him again.
But so for the comedy people there, where was your break? Like, what started you off? Like, where does Jordan Rube, like what gets you in? I mean, I know I became aware of you, I think, like with stuff like
Twitter, maybe.
What?
I feel like we've been Twitter friends for a while. Maybe through Jenny.
I think we were Twitter friends from the beginning, but in terms of your career, like where did your writing start? Was it LA?
I was doing stand-up during college at NYU, from age probably 20, 21,
Uh-huh.
in the New York budding, 90s comedy scene. And it's like, Chappelle was hanging out with him a lot at that point because he was around the same age exactly, I think 6 months younger. And so it's like him, and we had the same manager, which he recommended. And, Sarah Silverman was sort of the generation above.
Yeah.
And Jeff Ross was, but I was friends with them. And it was that kind of community. And for writing, I just kept submitting through my manager over a year to different shows, and nothing. And then finally, Jeff Ross, I guess, was in LA, and my manager at the time, Barry Katz, who represented Chappelle and Jeff, said, you should submit for this show, for the Man Show that Jimmy Kimmel and Adam Carolla is hosting. Do you know who those guys are? And I was like, I don't know who they are, because I guess they were on radio at the time.
They were on K-Rock out here.
K-Rock.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not submitting for another show. I can't take the rejection anymore. I'm done. It's been a year of this. And he's like, well, your friend Jeff Ross is on there. Maybe he could put in a word. And so I submitted, and I didn't get hired. They had one more spot open. They went on a writer's retreat for that weekend, and I sent a second submission I wrote over that weekend. So it got to them on Monday, and they hired me. They said, you got to move out here in 3 days. So my first break was Jimmy Kimmel, Daniel Callison, Adam Carolla hiring me on The Man Show, season 1.
That's amazing.
Daniel Callison, he's a buddy of mine who we've worked together. He's great. Love him.
Great.
And Jimmy's a good friend too. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's a fun way in, man. Like, that's like, in terms of like to get your feet wet. How old are you at that point, would you say?
26.
That's a great, yeah, it's everything.
When did you do your first, I remember like seeing, I think when you started following me, or I was following you or whatever on Twitter, and it was so random because I had like literally just watched you do a half hour on Comedy Central.
Right.
I was flipping through, and it was like literally the next day I look, I'm like, holy shit, I just was watching this guy's, special.
Yeah.
Which was super funny, by the way.
Thanks.
You actually had a joke.
I disagree,
remember,
but
about
no.
like getting everything down to scale so your dick looks bigger.
Oh yeah. I had everything in my apartment built to 3/4 scale, so my dick looks bigger.
By the way, there was a period of time where, like, I don't remember, these guys got in trouble at a Subway for putting their dicks in the foot-long subs, and all I could think of was, they deserve like a medal for bravery to compare their dick to a foot-long sub. I was like, good for you.
That's what you're more focused on, is the foot-long bread.
I want like those little sandwiches they give at
panini
parties. Yeah. Little finger sandwiches. I'll throw my dick to that.
Slider hot dog.
Yeah, a slide. I mean, cut a slider in half. I'm happy to be that.
Like a pig in a blanket.
Pig in a blanket.
Yeah.
Maybe on a good
day. Little Smokies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I suddenly go mute, it's because my sugarfish is being delivered, but I'm listening. So just
okay.
I actually want to see you get.
Who is there right there?
Who
is there? Someone in the room with you or no?
Yes. You don't need to know.
He missed that. Yeah.
Yeah. She's my friend. She's drinking. She
had a friend. Nice.
Yes.
But early days of Twitter was it's weird. In some ways, I look back more fondly on that than I do on my stand-up early days, which itself was fun, but was very hard. But Twitter was like, it felt like the old West, and it's so different now than what it was. But it was that early days where it was like you guys and other friends, and he's silent. He's paying for the
I need to take one quick.
What is this, Clubhouse with the muting?
I'll tell you.
It was so fun. Like all of us, it was such a small community. Yeah. It was before everyone in the entire world started writing jokes.
Yeah.
And I also started feeling like, oh, there's plenty of people that, yes, don't deserve to be writing jokes or aren't funny. Right. But then there's these massive contingency of savants that are, insane, and they're in their mother's basement in Ohio, but they are actually funny. Right. So then it got very competitive. And then there was times when I would tweet one of my own jokes from 2 years back, and I'd get accused of stealing some guy's joke who wrote it after me. And I was like, that's when I sort of backed away from Twitter a little bit, where I was like, And then the next layer of just like everything you say is offensive. So, I mean, but you guys still tweet jokes a lot, right?
Yeah, or try to. I don't read the comments anymore because it's
I did like,
you know.
I think about like, cause I had a like my thing was, I'm a little older than you, I think, Jordan. And I was like, I went to, but I was really trying to get onto Letterman. And when I got out of college, I was in New York. And,
I interned on Letterman in college.
And it was, and for me, it was like, there was this one gatekeeper there, that you had to get past. So you'd write your stuff, nothing.
And who was it? Steve O'Donnell?
No, it was back at the time. It was, God, this is really going to date me, but it was,
Jeff Stilson.
No, Barry Sand and also and Gerard, actually, Mulligan.
Gerard, what's his last name?
Mulligan.
And I remember when now I feel really old, but I remember interning on that and talking to Gerard and everyone saying he's 50 and no one could believe it.
Yeah.
Because he looked pretty young and he was like 8 glasses of water a day. That's a secret.
Yeah, no, I know.
But now like, to think of 50 as not that old is depressing.
He's 7 years younger than I am now.
Right.
Like, but he was this 50. Yeah, I had exactly the same thing. So, but like what I liked about Twitter was though, that it was a place where it was sort of made it a little bit more egalitarian and it was meritocracy and it was all of it shit. But I was always like, I was sort of envious. I liked that I was like seeing, younger writers kind of come up. Like I met Jenny through that.
Yeah.
Right.
And
me too.
Yeah, that's how we all.
I know, but it was a great place to sort of like see, because funny's funny, and if you do it consistently, and you don't.
And it was like you're like Jordan, you were saying it was great. We were this group. It was like this.
It really felt like this club of small, which I'm sort of I guess creating with this movie night thing, where it was like this kind of. It wasn't like invite only, but it felt like it because no one was really on Twitter. It was really like the comedy people first.
Yeah.
And it was just a group and it was like other people would be watching like from that weren't in this like world and laughing and retweeting and stuff like that, but they weren't chiming in as much and it wasn't as contentious and we were all supporting each other. And I think you were a couple of times when I had like, I kind of felt like I was one of the first person to do like meetups, like let's get all the comedy people out in LA.
Well, I remember coming out to LA, and this is when I was still a news producer.
Kelly Oxford was there with her.
Kelly, it was Rob Delaney.
Rob.
When we first met, I remember I had come out to LA and I was here for like a news conference thing.
Right.
And you were so nice and like come out and like have drinks and
where did we go? Takes?
No, we went, I remember going to the Brass Monkey first.
Right.
And there was like, you had Family Guy writer friends and the people that were there. And it was so nice of you because this was a world that I had, so I was getting to meet like, oh shit, these are like real comedy writers.
That was fun.
The Family Guy writers were they were the ones who
Alex
I think they carved it out for how you could do it. Like I remember just like I had Twitter and then I logged on and I saw what Alex Sulkin was doing with Twitter. And I was like, that would be fun. And then, and so then that's when I got involved in it. But there were a lot of those guys
Here's a question for both of you.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess the answer is no, like you already have made contact. But is there anyone on Twitter that you're a fan of that follows you and probably has for a long time, but you've never really connected? Like, you've never even spoken in DM or anything. And it's just like, wow, they still follow me. I love that person or something, but you never made contact for whatever reason, or you tried messaging them, they didn't message back, but they still follow you. Cause I have someone.
There must be I'm certain that I have some people like that. I mean, eventually the DMs start to flow, but there must be, I can't think, who do you have? Like
for me, it's Will Arnett. I'm a massive fan, but we just never crossed paths. We have so many mutual friends. He still follows me. I've always followed him. I don't read Twitter much, but occasionally I'll go on and I'll see a tweet and then I'll be like, wow, that guy, so weird that he follows me. And I think some of it and some of these things have started, and there'll be like some comedy guy in London, like some huge host or something that follows, and it's like, and I think it all started from that early days when it's like, there's this small gang of us.
Yeah.
And then everyone followed the comedy people, just like everyone followed Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. And
then everyone moved on, but they still follow.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you all, actually a funny Will Arnett story was few years back, I had a chance to go to the Emmys. Not 'cause
By
I
the
was
way,
nominated,
I just realized I've worked with him once, so I'm out of my mind. But
so your old story's down the toilet. It didn't
Yeah.
make sense. I shouldn't even tell
By the way,
but that's a horrible story. But yeah, go ahead.
But I had a chance to go to the Emmys, and as I was like sitting there watching it, and Will Arnett was one of the presenters, and he was presenting, and I can't remember the actress, but it was like she was very pale, like fair complected, like me, and he was crazy tan. Like when they walked out,
Yeah.
it was like just so noticeable. So I'm sitting there, and I like, let me go on Twitter. Looks like George Hamilton ejaculated in Will Arnett's face. You know,
ejaculated on her face?
Right.
hashtag Emmys. And I'm like, proud, put it back in my little clutch. Okay.
Right.
And I go to an after party and I feel this tap on my shoulder. And I turn around and it was Will Arnett. He was like, I played golf today. I mean, that was it. Everyone thinks I got a
Oh my
spray
God.
tan. Like he just started like explaining it. And I'm like, dude, the fucked up thing is I'm the one that got the spray tan today, not
Wow.
like,
Amazing.
he laughed. It was like he was so nice, and then I realized, oh shit, he followed me. I had no idea. So like, oh, I didn't think that was gonna come back and like tap me on the shoulder, but it was.
I'd want to say I don't want to talk about that. I'm going to skip that.
Okay, but we don't have to talk about it on the podcast. But I am going to grill you about it after the podcast. And then
Okay, and I'm going to do a public Q&A
on
Clubhouse right after.
Yeah.
So why am I
Right.
not talking about it? But yeah, let's not talk.
And I'm
So
going.
I tell a story about Will Arnett, the jizz in his face, and y'all leave me hanging. Fine.
Yeah, you get to talk about Will Arnett jizzing in your face.
But I'm going to tell how it went horribly with Will Arnett, where I was writing on the Oscars, and I've had this bit I've wanted to do, and it's probably pretty hacky for years. Maybe someone's done it, but I always wanted to do, you know, that famous streaker bit on the Oscars?
Yeah.
Which I don't think I ever knew when I was a kid that was a bit.
David Niven was.
It was staged, you know,
Yeah.
but I think I thought back then that it was real. But I wrote this thing where I really wanted to have an actor, someone, and it ended up being Will, that came to rehearsal to try to test out the thing. It was the Franco and Hathaway year, and Will comes running out on stage naked, and they're like, "Will, what are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm streaking," and they're like, so why are you stuck? He's like, because there's no exit that way. So he gets stuck on stage, and he has to have this dialogue with them.
That's really funny.
And he's just like, so what's up with you guys? Like, we should hang out sometime. And he's like holding his junk. And so Will came, and we got him to do it. I think at the time they wanted someone, you know, it's the Oscars, and they wanted a big film star. I guess they first asked Jim Carrey, and I love Will Arnett. And so he came by and he did it. And then I'm pretty sure they cut the bit because at the time it wasn't a big enough film star. Because I was dying laughing, and I walked over to the producer's table, and it was just kind of like, yeah, like, so it didn't work out, huh? I was like, one thing I've seen all night. Like, what are you talking? Like, so it got cut, and I don't think Will was too happy. I don't know.
No,
I think I sent him an email after, and I said, hey, sorry, and no response.
Yeah.
So I was like, he hates me.
You get naked and then it's cut. Like you go to the app.
Well, it wasn't real naked.
No, I know, but still, you're committed to a bit and it's cut.
It's a bit vulnerable. Was he spray tanned for that though? Tell me.
He was spray tanned, yeah.
I want to know.
He's pretty spray tanned.
I
I want to know what percentage of it is actual tan, because there has to be. It's not all spray tan, right?
No, I don't think that he said he didn't get a spray tan, but he said he played golf. But
you got the spray tan.
I was, and that was the funny thing, was I was the pale one that had to go get the spray tan. But
Right.
you know, he was a good sport about it. Let me ask you this. So are you still, I mean, before the pandemic, were you still ever doing stand-up, or have you?
No, I haven't done stand-up. I think I petered out, and I was basically done maybe 6 years ago, and then probably did it once or twice, like 4 or 5 years ago. And then, yeah, I haven't.
What was your reasoning for stepping away?
When I moved out to LA to do, I was doing stand-up, and I was like, I'm not going to become one of those writers that moves out to LA and then they stop doing stand-up.
Yeah.
And then it slowly started to happen. And the reason was, A, you get exhausted from writing all day.
Yeah.
Because you're getting a creative outlet at you know what I used to get from the audience because of my whatever bad upbringing that makes me need approval of strangers, I am now getting from some strangers in an office or, from the writer's room. But then you're done with that. And if you want to have any kind of social life or whatever, I think there was a confluence of like a bunch of things at the same time. It was the fact that around that time was when big names started bumping people at the comedy clubs in LA.
Yeah.
That didn't happen when I started out. It would be like once in a million years, you'd have Chris Rock show up in New York City and come into the Boston Comedy Club or the Comedy Cellar, but it wasn't a common occurrence. All of a sudden in New York and LA, Seinfeld started dropping in, Chris Rock started dropping in, random big names started being like, oh, I'll give this a try again. Around that time when Kramer got canceled, bigger names started just going into the clubs because they could. And I think they also realized there was a cottage industry or a massive industry of they could, even if they didn't used to do stand-up, become a stand-up. So I'd be working all day writing on a show, and then I'd drive all the way over to a comedy club, have to talk to a bunch of comics. What are you working on? Insecure, competitive. And then I'd get bumped. So it's like, well, why didn't I go on a date? Or why didn't I just, get some sleep, So that was it. And then also, I swear the advent of Twitter made me have an outlet where I was like, oh, I'm writing jokes. So there's a whole audience right here.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're not paying me well when I'm doing stand-up in LA anyway. What is it? $70 a night,
Yeah. I totally get the idea of that. Was what Twitter did for me. It felt like lazy stand-up, but I get the same feedback, and I love writing jokes.
Did you do stand-up, Danny?
I did so I did stand-up when I was very young. So I started when I was like 17 through college, and I was terrible. I was a hack. And weirdly, the last trip I took, I got back into doing it like right before the pandemic. Jenny let me open her at the DC Improv. And I'm like, this is it. Yeah. I love it. I'm back.
Wow.
And then it went doom. So
it was literally like 1 year ago. Like it was like actually.
I'm like ready to like, I do want to do it again. I've been writing. And so, because I really always loved it. But so I'd say it's for me, it's interesting to hear that. We're coming to the end of the show. This is the part where we sort of like ask like what you've been watching. Is there something that you've been obsessed with, or you can recommend, or your pandemic?
I got very obsessed the last few weeks with Billions and binge watched the entire thing from start to finish.
Billions? I haven't
really.
And I don't watch a lot of comedy. Some I do. I more often watch drama. I feel like comedy, I sometimes see the jokes coming, or I'm so used to joking making jokes all the time that I like either to watch straight things to make jokes on, or just to shut my brain off. But the one comedy thing that I watched that maybe no one's recommended to you, but I can't imagine because you guys are, it all, but is Stath Lets Flats.
Oh, I am Jenny.
I haven't seen this.
Stath Lets Flats. It's
the greatest. It's on HBO Max now. I think it's from BBC.
It's the guy, Dimitri, what's his name?
I can't remember his last name. Very Greek name, but he was on Fleabag. He was the guy with the weird teeth on Fleabag.
Oh, yeah.
He has his own show where he is a real estate agent named Stath, and he lets flats. So it's like he
rents apartments.
Right.
And it is.
And his sister is the actress that's on What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah,
that's his real sister in real life.
That's his real sister in real life.
Yeah.
And she's fantastic.
She's so damn funny on that show.
I'm just gonna piggyback on Jordan's recommendation. If you haven't seen that tonight, that is anything from you, Jenny?
Yeah, I just watched Coming to America 2. Have you seen this?
I have not.
Okay, I was hesitant to watch it because I love the first one, and watching the second.
I'm very hesitant to watch it.
I had zero expectation going into it. And because I had zero expectation, I just wanted to have fun. It's just fun. It's not like, I liked it. I thought it was really like, there was some good jokes in it. There were some things that were very obvious, but it was a fun watch. Like
if your friend wrote it, would you be maybe saying this even though you didn't?
No, I don't know anyone that wrote it. Matter of fact, Wesley Snipes is in it. He blocked me on Twitter, so I'm not saying it.
Well, Arsenio Hall gave me my first writing job in television. So I will
Wow.
absolutely watch it. Basically.
Yeah, matter of fact, he was terrific at it. Him and I, like, we follow each other, and I sent him a message saying great job. Like, it was, and they had all the original people in it, and they just gave, like, it was like a little bit
sorry,
of a love letter.
you sent
to
a message to who?
Arsenio Hall.
But he blocked you.
No,
Wesley
Snipes.
Snipes.
Oh, Snipes blocked you.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I made a
Wait,
tweet.
Snipes wasn't in Coming to America?
He's in Coming to America.
Oh, he's
too.
in the second one. Gotcha.
Yeah, he's in the second. I wrote a tweet that I said, like, I'd rather have Wesley Snipes file my taxes than, X,
Right.
Y, Z. And I thought it was funny, but apparently it got back to him, and now I'm blocked by Wesley Snipes.
Hey.
What have you seen, Danny?
I'm
He's saying
piggybacking-
Steph.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
That's the best thing. I haven't seen anything this week since we talked. So this is.
But you're going to see the movie with us whenever I choose it
yes,
Thursday,
I
hopefully.
promise I will.
What
Yeah.
are you leaning towards that we're going to watch?
I was thinking of like shattering the trajectory we've been on and just picking something weird, but I may do something again 90s-y action, but I was leaning towards something strange in the vein of like a Hallmark Christmas movie type thing.
I would be into that. So you let me know.
Oh yeah.
But it sounds like Jenny has an idea for one. What,
No, I
you know,
did, but now I can't say it because I was going to be like rude, and
What do you mean?
I was going to say we should watch like Riding the Bus with My Sister, the Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, God.
I don't even get it.
No,
Hey,
no,
Oh, if you've never seen it, cut it out.
all I'd say is just Google it.
Google
Okay.
it.
That's what I would say.
Rosie plays a person with special,
It's- oh.
and it didn't go well.
It's
I
a
guess.
special movie.
There's an amazing trailer if you get a second that's 30 seconds long for an after school special in the 70s called you see these two kids and they're like he's like, what's the matter, Tommy? And he's like, oh, nothing, parents are having problems. And then you see him taking a bus and then the title comes up, My Father Lives in a Downtown Hotel.
Oh my God. That's it. The Danny Zucker story? Because that's what I'm doing right now. It's perfect. On that note, Jordan, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I hope I didn't say something offensive and I hope
you did. I hope you
come on.
did. And I'll look for you on Clubhouse. Any place people can follow you and find you? Anything you want to promote?
At Jordan Rubin on Twitter, Instagram, and now Clubhouse. Well, no, it's Sir
Clubhouse.
Jordan Rubin on Clubhouse. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
search.
you got knighted
You're at Jenny Johnson High Five.
on
Both
Twitter, Instagram, and let's put March 19th, I think. I'm doing a headlining Flappers comedy virtual show.
Is that online? Yeah. I'll
Yeah,
check
yeah.
that out.
If you haven't watched Jenny perform, you're a fucking idiot. It's
True.
great. You have
Yeah.
to see it. And I don't like. And I look, no, you're a fucking idiot if you haven't. Rectify it.
Thank you.
Go see it.
Appreciate you.
Unbelievable.
It'd be crazy. It'd be like there was an opportunity for a lot of people of a certain generation to see the Beatles, and they said, no, I'm not going to do it. And then boom,
Yeah.
they get Yoko'd. It's over.
Yeah. You know, like people were like, oh, I want to see like Red Rocks. It's like, no, I want to see it on Zoom.
Exactly. You're going to see it at Zoom in your underwear. Watch it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Blue Chew, for sponsoring the podcast.
Thank you, Blue Chew.
We love Blue Chew.
Thank you, Blue Chew.
Yeah.
keeps her
Thank
dick
you,
hard.
Jordan. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Jordan.
Guy.
Thank you, Guy.
Everyone have a good night.
Good night. We'll see you next week.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.